It is no secret that I am not a fan of artificial intelligence. I think I've made that abundantly clear. I think that the downfall of humanity as a species will come as a result of artificial general intelligence, which can be achieved when you hook up AI to quantum computing, which is driven by a nuclear power source and cooled with the most advanced cooling technology known to man. You need all four of those components in order for it to work, and we're not far off from having that. As a matter of fact, some would say that we already do have it, and an AGI, artificial general intelligence, is already at work in the world today. Now, there are biblical implications. There are good theories out there that highlight the idea that artificial general intelligence will play a major role in the end times. I've seen this evidence. It is compelling. We're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about 2024 AI, what's out there in the wild that we know of right now, and of course, into 2025. An article over at reclaimthenet.org by Didi Rankovic. U.S. report reveals push to weaponize AI for censorship. A new U.S. report highlights federal attempts to regulate AI for censorship, proposing free speech-focused legislation to protect open innovation. Now, there was another article that I'm not going to bring up, but I might bring it up later. But it was calling for President Trump to get on AI and get this figured out and under control, basically rein it in within his first 100 days of office. I believe that was over at PJ Media, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to talk about it. This one I have read, and this is encouraging but also very terrifying. According to the article, for a while now, emerging AI has been treated by the Biden-Harris administration, but also the EU, the UK, Canada, the UN, etc., as a scourge that powers dangerous forms of disinformation and should be dealt with accordingly. According to those governments and entities, the only positive use for AI as far as social media and online discourse go would be to power more effective censorship, moderation they like to call it. A new report from the US House Judiciary Committee and its Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of federal government puts the emphasis on the push to use this technology for censorship as the explanation for the often disproportionate alarm over its role in disinformation. Now, they like to say, they being the I don't want to call them the bad guys because this is a gray area, but those who want to control AI for the sake of using it as a tool against us, they will point to that unregulated, uncontrolled artificial intelligence is what's driving all the disinformation on the internet through social media, especially X, and this is just a bald-faced lie. They know it's not true. Okay, they can point to little examples of like the fake videos popping up and whatever, but it's not true. The disinformation, first and foremost, is coming mostly from them, those who are claiming to fight disinformation. And number two, disinformation is we still have the intelligence, the discernment to be able to tell what's real and what's not. At least some of us do. Many on the left do not, but that's a discussion for another day. And even many on the right don't either. But hey, it is what it is. But the quote-unquote good guys, and we'll see how good they are, they suggest that it should be left completely open and that free speech should reign. And we'll see which direction we end up taking, because I do believe there is a quote-unquote correct answer to this gray question. But back to the article. The interim report's name spells out its author's views on this quite clearly, because the document is called Censorship's Next Frontier, the federal government's attempt to control artificial intelligence to suppress free speech. It's pretty straightforward. Very rare in D.C., by the way. The report's main premise is well known, that AI is now being funded, developed, and used by the government and third parties to add speed and scale to their censorship, and that the outgoing administration has been putting pressure on AI developers to build censorships into their models. What's new are the proposed steps to remedy the situation and make sure that future federal governments are not using AI for censorship. To this end, the committee wants to see new legislation passed in Congress, AI development that respects the First Amendment and is open, decentralized, and pro-freedom. In other words, good guy AI, right? That's kind of what they're suggesting here. The report recommends legislation along four principles focused on preserving America's right to free speech. The first is that the government cannot be involved when decisions are made in private algorithms or data sets regarding misinformation or bias. The government should also be prohibited from funding censorship-related research or collaboration with foreign entities on AI regulations that leads to censorship. Lastly, avoid needless AI regulations that gives the government coercive leverage. That's an important one. The committee notes that the current state of affairs, where the Biden-Harris administration made a number of direct moves to regulate the space to its political satisfaction via executive orders, but also by pushing its policy through by giving out grants via the National Science Foundation, once again aimed at building AI tools that combat misinformation. But if allowed to develop in a free and open manner, AI could dramatically expand Americans' capacity to create knowledge and express themselves, the report states. Now, obviously, I'm very torn because, on one hand, what they're saying is that government wants to suppress free speech through AI, and we want AI to help to enable free speech. So I agree on the first part. You shouldn't be using AI to suppress free speech. But then again, I also disagree with the second part. I don't think that AI should be used to help enable or enhance free speech. Now, call me an AI doomer, which I kind of am, but this, to me, smells like a very slippery slope. If given the choice, if it's a binary choice, of course I'll take freedom, AI helping with freedom over AI censorship. But with that said, freedom, once it or anything else is put through the AI grinder, it is fundamentally changed. It's no longer the freedom that we experienced before. And there's no way for me to easily parlay that or portray it in a way that is easy to understand. Call it a gut feeling, maybe. Perhaps you feel the same way. Perhaps you want to expand on it. I will always take recommendations on how to express what I'm feeling. And I usually take those from my wife. But if any of you can sort of hear what I'm getting at and can help me to elaborate on my fear, on this concern that I have regarding AI, please reach out to me. You can hit me up on Twitter, X. I have open DMs, x.com/JDRucker, or you can just send me an email. Go to jdrucker.com/talk, jdrucker.com/talk.